Everything is racist. Every little minute incident at a bar or outside of a shop or in an apartment complex, it's all gotta be racist. Everything, all the time. We got another one of these stories where somebody started filming a white person doing a thing and then they called that person racist and then they gave her a name. This time it's Move-In Martha. You see, this story is about a racist white woman dubbed Move-In Martha trying to stop two people from helping their friend move into an apartment and demands to see their ID before calling the cops. Well, when you see the framing in that way, when you see this video going viral on Reddit, you immediately assume, oh, Martha, why couldn't you just let sleeping dogs lie and mind your own business? Now, I'll admit, actually, let me give you a little context. Basically, a couple people were trying to move stuff in for their friends. They didn't live there. She asked them who they were. They were like, we're moving stuff in. She goes, you don't live here. Apparently got into an argument. Here's the important bit first. All of these stories that come out, we have no context. We don't know what happened, and I'm not going to believe either party. How did we come to a point in our society where it's like someone makes an accusation, we just believe it? It's insane. Now listen, I don't know who's right or wrong, but you watch the video and I'm kind of like, I don't know, man. Both parties don't sound like nice people. Here's the thing. I have friends, okay? I've been to their apartments. Nobody asks me any questions when I walk in. Maybe it's happened once or twice. I'm like, yeah, I'm friends with so-and-so. Yeah, whatever. They walk by. I'm surprised that this Martha woman bothered to talk to these people at all. It just so happens that the two people she talked to were not white. So now, boom, there it is. It's racist. Are you kidding me, dude? Any circumstance that arises, it's always... Actually, let me back up. Think about any bar fight, any argument. How come it's only ever a white person arguing with a black person? It's because when these normal, everyday, nonsensical things happen that no one cares about and don't matter, if it's two white people, nobody says anything. Certainly it must be racist, though. That's the point I'm trying to make. When I watch this story, let me ask you something. Two people walk into your apartment building, your complex, and they don't live there. In the video, they say they don't live there. They don't have IDs because they can't prove they live there because they don't. People then say, well, they're helping their friend move in. But apparently their friend wasn't even there. In which case, I'm watching this like, oh no, here's this woman. And then later on, it seems like, I could be wrong, but it seems like, wait a minute, you're saying that you're helping your friend move in and your friend's not even there. So your neighbor saw strangers coming into the building, into the apartment, and asked you, and you said, oh, we're friends. It's like, no, hold on, man. Like, hold on. I wouldn't be surprised then if somebody took issue with it. Well, let's read the story, but you get the point. A white woman is seen demanding that a man and woman show their ID. I mean, that's silly. What's an ID going to prove? When they refuse, she calls 911 and blocks the entrance to the apartment building. Important point. This seems to be irrational. We don't know the context. For all we know, this woman walked up and was like, excuse me, I'm not familiar with you. Do you live here? And for all we know, this couple was just like, F you. And then she was like, whoa, and then she got mad. We don't know. I don't think that's likely, I'm just saying. You get no context to these videos, they start screaming racist. They then try to explain to her that they're helping a friend move into the complex. Where's her friend? Her friend wasn't there. If her friend was there, she would have walked up and said, these are my friends, chill, what's your problem? No, it was two people who didn't live there going in and about, and someone asking. Despite their explanation, the woman tells a 911 dispatcher that the pair are trespassing and refuse to show their identification. You know what, man? I do think she's overreacting for the most part. I probably wouldn't say anything, but yeah, they're trespassing if she says you can't be in my building, especially if the person inviting you in isn't there. You can't do that. If you live in an apartment and you tell someone to come and you aren't there, in many circumstances, you can be thrown out. Eventually, the woman who has been dubbed Move-In Martha left the area. It is unclear at what apartment complex it happened. And you know what, man? The only reason I'm talking about this, because I think it's not news, is that we've seen story after story about this. And this falls in line with cancel culture and woke outrage. This is stupid. Bar fights happen. Vandalism happens. People get punched sometimes. But everything is now being viewed through this insane lens. Think about this. We see this story, people assume it's racist. Think about literally every other interaction that will in the future be labeled a racial relation or circumstance. That's what I'm freaked out about, and I think will be insane. I've had run-ins with the cops. I've had cops, pull me over, and in one instance, I told the story in a couple weeks ago, planted weed in my car, let me go, and they saw my dad's firefighter emblem. I had it in the glove box. I have had police light brutality. I don't want to say brutality, but I should say I've had police act aggressively towards me. I have been wrongfully arrested. Yeah. We get it. Is it because of my race? No, of course not. This is the problem. When I grew up on the south side of Chicago, it was a very mixed area. You had poor white people, you had poor black people, you had poor Latinos, you had poor Asians, you had poor immigrants. And when the police did things that were unfair, or when people got arrested and went to jail and stuff like that, or had to go to court, it wasn't because of their race. It was because of their class. It was because we couldn't afford good lawyers. It was because they didn't care about us. It was because the police would side with, in one instance, with the mall. Hey, the mall said so. We don't care what evidence shows. We're going to lock you up anyway. It's easier that way. They actually tell us that. We got to work with these people. This is another story where it could just simply be injustice, minor nuisance. But why would this be a viral video? Why would this be a trending video on Reddit? Why would it be a news story? Because of the racial component. This is the problem. The only reason stories like this, the only reason other big viral stories happen is because apparently this is racist. No, this is two people getting into an argument and we don't know why. When the injustice happens to me and my friends, and I call it out, it's not a big story. When you have violence in one direction, basically, you know what? I'll do a shout out to Project Veritas because they actually pointed this out in one of their clips. In one of the clips, one of the CNN employees says straight up, CNN only cares if the violence is a high profile, activist thing, or if it's targeting a pretty, like a wealthier neighborhood. They don't care about the violence in the ghettos. They don't care about the violence in the poor areas or in the black neighborhoods or the Mexican neighborhoods. They only care in certain circumstances. And this is exactly that. Society only cares. The woke outrage only targets this woman because she's white. They say, the story's so dumb. You are trespassing, you don't live here, and you're unwilling to show ID, the resident is heard saying. Now, why is that unreasonable? I might say to myself, why bother with, interfering with people like this? But why does this become news? It's simple. Because in today's day and age, everything must be racially motivated. Don't you think that leads us to a very dangerous situation? Who has this kind of time? The woman recording the video asks her friend. And now we're seeing, there's actually been a bunch of videos that didn't actually get to go viral, where people are trying to make it go viral. And in this video, they actually say, you're racist, we're gonna post this, and you're gonna be famous. Don't you see these other videos? So what's gonna happen next? Someone comes into your yard and you're like, hey, get off my yard. And they're like, no. And then they film you and call you a racist. What would happen if you walked up to somebody and just started filming and claimed they said a word? Yup. Accusations are all it takes. People don't care about evidence. It's none of your business. We have a key and we have the right to be here. You haven't shown me any ID, have you? Where's your ID? Now, hold on. That's a good point. How do they know she lives there? That's another big problem. It's I'll admit, if somebody, when I walk into an apartment, nobody bothers me. The resident then tells the dispatcher that the woman was yelling at her outside the apartment building. She wants to be famous for being a racist idiot. Now, why is she racist? What about what she did was racist? Simply being rude to you and questioning why you're there when you don't live there is racist? Because she hasn't seen enough white people's lives get ruined. And there it is, the crescendo. She wants to be part of the trend, the man is heard saying. Sounds to me like an altercation started for some reason, and they knew they could weaponize the outrage from the cancel culture wokeness on the internet to get some kind of emotional vindication against this woman. I will point out very, very simply. You get into an argument with somebody, who cares? Don't film it, whatever. But we're now facing a trend where normally, circumstances that don't matter to anybody are becoming national trends and national stories. Something where you might get into an argument because someone at a laundromat stole your sock. Normally you'd walk home and it wouldn't be a big deal. But now people are going I seem to recall this racist incident where a white woman took my sock. And they know that they can make this video go viral, and they even say it. So at what point are we gonna say perhaps they were at fault and they're exploiting the trend in cancel culture to get people mad at this woman? Is this woman allowed to be upset that people who don't live here are walking in and out of her building? I don't know, man. I'll put it this way. At the end, in the end, we see a lot of these circumstances that are nonsensical, that shouldn't even be news stories, that shouldn't receive my commentary, but people want to be angry. There's a bunch of really funny comics about this. There's one that someone tweeted recently where someone's saying, please stop being angry, and the guy says, no, I'm almost enjoying my anger. There's that one comic I love where the guy says, I'm angry, the other guy says, here's a solution, and then he burns it and says, I don't want a solution, I want to be angry. And that's what this is. I think it's because life is boring. I'll be honest. I think life is pretty boring. I don't mean that, like, okay, hold on. I think life is fun. You know what I mean? Like, you go out and you make your own, mission, your life, but people are bored. They don't have a mission. They have no responsibility. They have no goals. They have no passion. So they're bored. And what happens when you're bored? You accuse someone of racism. You get into fights you get into these stupid little altercations. You film it, and then you make viral videos, and everyone rallies behind it because they have nothing else to do. Hey man, play video games. Go play a game. Now they want to ruin that too. Okay. I feel like I'll just stop here. I wanted to address this, and perhaps I didn't do a good enough job of it. So for that, if I didn't, whatever. The general, I don't know, negativity I feel towards these circumstances is that it shouldn't even be an article. It shouldn't have been recorded. It shouldn't have been published. It shouldn't have been upvoted. It shouldn't have become a story. But we keep seeing things like this because people are desperate for some kind of clickbait. They're desperate for some kind of narrative. I got a couple more segments coming up in a few minutes. I'll see you all shortly.